Hello, everyone. I'm Saleha, and this is Chai Chat Community. Sorry, my headphones fell down. Tonight, we talk about fussy eaters. And as parents, we all know what a nightmare any mealtime can be when we have children who do not want to eat what we put in front of them, the special food we cook for them. And to tell you more, I have a very special guest who has very kindly agreed to join me every month to talk about mother and child. But if you missed the last month's webcast, I will introduce you to him shortly. But before that, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet tonight, and I would like to pay my respects to their past, present, and emerging. So my guest tonight is Dr. Raj Khillan. Whatever I say is going to be very little. So he is this amazing pediatrician with many clinics in the western and the southeastern suburbs. And I will let my guest Raj tell you a little bit about himself in case you missed him last month. Raj, over to you. Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah, and thank you for the introduction yourself. I'm Raj Khillan. I'm a pediatrician. I work in Western Health Sunshine Hospital, and I also have my pediatric clinic, and on the western side, as you said. So you see kids for all range of issues, starting from 0 to 18 years of age. So happy to help the community, particularly our multicultural community, with a lot of traditional, culturally oriented issues which we are facing, and that's where we are here to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. So, because our topic today is fussy eating, what exactly is a fussy eater?
Look, it's a very, I can say, a common term. You can be fussy about anything, about the eating, about the clothes, about your basic nature, about your perfectionism. So, fussiness, I would say, if we take in general, is a normal part of our life. And in the same way, the fussy eating habit is also a part of the normal development of a child. So the child, like the taste, likes and dislike changes every day during the development. And the child may eat food today and they enjoy, relishes, and then tomorrow you put the same food on the plate and the child will say, no, I'm not going to eat. So that sort of a behavior is normal. You put the food on a plate and you say, okay, and you're going to finish it. And they'll say, no, one piece is that's enough for me. So that fluctuation of eating habit is normal. And a child generally does test the boundaries of parents and time to time, and it becomes from our side how we allow or how much we allow the child, or you can say the other way, how much we are fallen into trap of child's is testing boundary. So this is all about the facility habit. In nutshell, I would say it's a very common thing. It's a normal development of the child, and we should take it as a part of the normal. Important thing is to understand when it is normal, converting to abnormal, where to need help, and where to ask for help before it's become too late. And that is the most important thing which parents need to understand before it's become too late.
Thank you. So, all my questions here are from moms who have sent me these questions. Um, One of the questions that we have is at what age do children become fussy eaters? Is there an age? I know grown ups were fussy eaters.
You're right. And that's what I would like to talk about, a very important thing, which is later on. But first to your question about what age. Look, in child, in general, any age, you can be fussy. And you said the grown-up can be fussy too. But there is a two important age which we need to keep in mind, the where the fussy eating behavior can be an issue. One issue is in early childhood when we start introducing the food, like between 6 to 12 months of age. When we are like a 6 months, 4, 6 months, we start introducing the solid. and that's where the fussiness start, which is basically depends upon how we are introducing the food, how aggressive we are, how forceful we are. Second age come is the toddler age, where they are very hyperactive, moving around, so excited with the stimulus from the outside, from the environment. And in toddlers, generally we say as terrible twos. The terrible twos, they have multiple meltdown, tantrum during daytime, and they sometimes they like to eat, sometimes they don't like to eat. It all depends upon the how much environmental stimulus they have. And that's the second age where we need to be more careful about the fussiness. And next other age come is the toddler age. Oh, sorry, the teenage, the adolescent age, where body is changing, growth is happening, there's a lot of a social anxiety and the peer pressure comes, and that's where the another stage come where the children can have sort of a fussy eating habit, and which may sometimes be underlying indicating of serious issues of eating disorder, where your body image, the role model of looking at the celebrity as a thin and slim, and that sort of things comes and play and put a lot of pressure on the growing brain to look very skinny, smart, and different way, and that's where the eating become a disorder. So I would say these are the three ages where we need to be careful. Otherwise, child can be fussy at any stage. Yeah, I'm talking about when any stage is a normal child, not with underlying medical issues, which we can talk in a differently. There can be fussiness because of underlying medical issues too, but these are the common normally developmental child.
So the fussy eating starts also during that 10 to 12, because body image is such a big thing amongst 10 to 12-year-olds. They're seeing celebrities who starve themselves, and that's not normal. Um,
That's not normal, but that's true. That's not a normal thing, but that fussy habit comes at because your body is changing. There's a lot
yes,
of hormonal changes are happening, your brain changes are happening, and you are going through the transition stage of from a child to a girl, a child to a adult man. So that changes are happening in your body, and the child cannot understand the needs of the body, and then sometimes the pressure comes. I'll give you the simple example of one child I've seen, particularly with our, the Indian subcontinent background. The parents were giving the food to the child, which is an Indian paratha with a pickle and sabjis and all that things. And
yes,
this can be a little bit of an issue here in that age if the child is being getting bullied and being picked on for your food is stinky. It
yep, I
smells
know that.
like
Yes, it happens at work also, Raj. Yep, we were not allowed to carry Indian food at work because curry smell. I mean, it
no,
happens there too. So yeah,
which is a very simple thing. But as a parent, when we are sitting at home, we don't understand, and
yep,
sometimes we ignore it. Oh, you should be feeling proud of your Indian. Yes, you should feel. There's no
yep,
doubt about that. But as long as these issues are dealt sensibly, in a sensitive manner and a timely manner, before it become too late, what happens when then that girl, what she because she was trapped between the two things. One is she is forced to take that food to school because otherwise mom is going to be upset and angry. And at school, she's under pressure from the peers, and she started throwing that food in a bin. She takes the lunch box and she throw it in the bin and say, "Mom, yeah, I've eaten." And that is a sort of a you can say a environmentally created fussy eating habit, and then child started hating the Indian food.
yes.
You know,
That's another thing. This
it's
what
a
you
very
do at home
simple,
and what you
simple
do outside. Yes,
It's a very simple thing. Could have been tackled timely, very easy way. But because it's been left for long, and now it's become a issues of mental health, it's
yes,
become a issues of eating disorder, it's become a issues to with the school authorities why the child is left to be bullied for so long, and so simple thing become a complex thing to deal with, and our whole team need to be involved here to sort the things out. And we eventually sorted this out, but it took a long time for us to sort the things out. And and we could never introduce that food back to the child's in a plate.
Yeah, parenting is, it's not easy. It doesn't come with a rule book. We all do the best that we can with our children. I mean, we all want to do the best, and yet we never know when we slip up, how we slip up. So yes. Um, so one of the questions that I was sent was, what is the best food, both vegetarian and non-vegetarian, for young children?
Look, both food are equally good. If we go back to Indian subcontinent, probably 70, 80%, maybe more than that, 90% Indian by default they are vegetarian. And we are all healthy. Though we are 80, 90% of us are iron deficient, not because of the food we are vegetarian, it's more because the way we cook food.
Yep.
Excessive frying of the food kills a lot of nutrients, vitamins, and we get sort of a more deficiency of iron, which is get destroyed. So I feel between there's not much difference in terms when it comes to the fussiness of the food, and whether it's a vegetarian or non-vegetarian makes any difference. But yes, in the initial stages, when the child is learning how to chew, how to swallow the food, at that time we need to be very careful what texture of the food we need to introduce. Like if we introduce a steak to a 6 month in a 9 months old child, it's going to be difficult for the child to chew. So because it's a hard to chew. And that's where it's important to introduce vegetables first, and then you go to the non-vegetarian, non-veg food later on. And in non-veg also, putting a chicken first and red meat later on, because that's the most difficult to chew. And and that is the reason because when the child develops this uh, habit of sucking, biting, chewing, and swallowing. There's a process that happens. Like a 1 month old baby cannot have a pureed food,
No.
but around 4 to 6 months can have. But 9 to 12 months can have pieces, a bit of a lumpy food. And there is a reason why I can have. That's how our these muscles, the chewing, sucking, and swallowing muscles develops over the time, and how the changes happen in the neck, pharynx, larynx, that whole area around, and that develops the coordination of the muscles develop over the time. So that's where we need to be important to understand what food introduce at what stage. But otherwise, from personal point of view, I don't think that makes a majorly any difference.
It's the
Yes,
age.
when it comes to the nutrition point of view, non-vegetarian, carries more protein, and which is directly absorbed in the body. It carries better iron, which is directly absorbed in the body better as compared to the vegetarian food iron, and which is difficult to absorb.
Okay. This, I don't know what to make of this question. Do children become better eaters as they grow up? You just
Yes,
talked about body image, you talked about teenagers and
yeah,
that 10 to 12 age, and as they grow up also, yes.
yeah. Look, in general, if we check the teenage part out, in general, fussiness improves with age. As long as I said, if we accept the fussiness as a fussy eating habit as a part of the normal child development, as long as child is active, healthy, energetic, playful, running around, doing all the right things, age appropriate in terms of the physical growth point of view, in terms of the mental growth point of view, if a school going over child academic point of view is doing all the right things, I don't think the fuzzy eating habit is much to worry about, and it improves with the age. But at the same time, it does not mean you relax at home and say, "Oh, my child is a fuzzy." But Dr. Raj told that you don't need to worry that I don't need to do anything about that. But yes, there are certain tips we can talk about maybe later on how to handle these things so it does not become a problem for you and for the child.
Yep,
Because what I mean is the meal time, whether it's a breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it should be enjoyable for you,
absolutely.
for your
Yep,
child, for the whole family as an experience. not as a torture, as a nightmare. Where the child, I've seen kids in my clinic where the mom comes and say, I started cooking a food and my child start crying. His, the child sees the plate when I'm putting the food in the plate, he started running around and hiding himself. That is abnormal. That is absolutely, it means you need help. Your child needs help. This is child is going to be having a lot of other behavioral mental health issues and social issues also if you won't handle it.
Um, so, starting from 9 months, children start having teeth, some younger, some a little older. So, do you think teething is one of the issues why children don't want to eat? And if you feel that is an issue, what is the right kind of food to give?
Look, in general, if you take it as a rule of thumb, what we say as a rule of thumb, teething does not cause any fussy eating habit,
Okay.
as a rule of thumb.
Yep.
Unless until there is some variation or deviation happening from the normal dental TB or dental eruptions. If two teeth are coming next to each other or some abnormal teeth are coming out, then definitely there can be an issue. Or if the dentition is delayed, like normally we expect between, as you said, around 9 months child is having teeth. But we do see kids that are 14 months having no teeth. So if the
Wow.
child is not having 14 months teeth, then it is difficult for you to introduce food which a child can bite and chew on gums. So hard food like a steak, like a biting on a carrot is going to be difficult for the child. So that is a little bit of a deviation from the normal, but that we are talking about less than 1% of children. So in general rule of thumb, teething, if it's go as a standard pattern, first the front two teeth will come, then the lower teeth will come, and then the side will come, and then the premolar will come. If we go with this normal dentition way, it's not going to cause any issue because child can bite on a time, child can chew on a time when a time comes. That's how the nature has put a different type of teeth to that at a different age. And that's how other changes are happening in our body. So the child can bite on that age, child can chew on that age, child can swallow the lumpy food on that age. Because when we bite the hard food, we cannot chew and make it like a paste or
Yep.
pureed food. There's still some pieces there. At the same time, the changes happening in our muscles also, so the child can swallow that lumpy food. And so I know, in general, we have the assumption that, oh, my child is a little bit fussy, he is TB. And so we started putting Bonjela, we started putting so many other cream, local anesthesia on that, topical on that, and he's not able to sleep overnight. Child is having a bit of a diarrhea, bit of vomiting, rashes on the face, and so many, uh, you know, in parent group we have a discussion about this thing. But in a general rule of thumb, teething is a normal process. It does not cause temperature, does not cause rashes, does not cause any facility.
Thank you. Archana, thank you very much for watching and tagging all the mothers. Okay. I have a question for you, Raj, and I'll just show it on the screen. Oh, sorry. No, wrong one. Um, Thank you for watching, Metali. So my question is, my daughter is 26 months old. Up to 18 months, she was eating good, but now she's not eating properly.
Mhm. So look, that's where the issue is. Not eating properly is a very vague term. You know, as we talked about, the eating habit fluctuates in child in this particular age group. Someday child would eat more, someday will eat less. And we should not also expect the child to have a big 3 meals what we generally have. If he has, if your child is having 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fantastic, very good. But if it's not having, that means we need to give this child multiple small meals. Maybe change 3 meals into the 5 meals, in between two snacks, or maybe a three snacks. It is important also to understand what is the normal stomach weight, size of a child. And the general rule be understanding the stomach is of a child is equal to child's fist.
Okay. All right. I learned something new.
All right. So you can understand what would be the fist size of a 26-month-old child. So how much I can eat, and that's a very very another problem thing. What we put it in our force our children put it on a plate, one roti, two roti, or rice, and maybe got sabji and everything. No, you have to finish it. You have to finish it. The plate should be empty. Absolutely, there's nothing left on the plate. नहीं तो अन्नदाता का जो है आप अनादर कर रहे हैं. That's our general thing. So that is a wrong culture what we have. We don't need to force our child to finish the food. Let child decide how much he has to eat or she has to eat. More you force, more fussy eating habit, reluctance, and defiance will come. More you will be after the child to feed, the more fussy child will be. The problem is with our other very traditional way of feeding our child is we never do any structure feeding time. Normal time is that when there's a lunchtime or dinner time, a child needs to sit with you on a dining table and a high chair. So come to your level and have a food with you, the same food at 26 months what you are having. But majority of the time, what's happening, we make some special food for the child. Child's dinner time is separate than 26-month-old child dinner time is separate than your own time. We don't let the child feed himself or herself. We try to spoon feed the child every time. Or if I don't spoon feed, then he's going to do it all the mess around. So if you are worried about the mess and spilling around the food, then the child is going to be fussy eating habit because you are not letting child get developing that independence of feeding himself or herself.
Okay. So Mitali, who asked you the question, says sometimes she only eats a banana at lunchtime.
Is that an issue? Is that an issue? Is that a concern? As a pediatrician, for me, if a child can hold a banana in a hand, can eat banana and finish, that's fantastic. That child has got a hunger, child is happy to eat himself. Why are you worried about it? I will not be worried about if the child can eat himself on herself. One thing is very important to understand. The problem is as a parent we think, oh, he's not eating what he should have eaten. The problem is who measures what he should have eaten? Mother decided, not the child. We're not letting the child decide about how much he should have eaten. And that's where the problem comes because you, as a mother, mixed with the mother's love, your measurement of eating is much more than the fist of the child.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes.
Okay. So I have a few questions coming through, Raj, and Mitali says, my daughter always eats by herself. I don't care about the mess. So, and I
Fantastic.
am worried that she is probably not getting any protein or iron. Archana, I will come to your questions. I have it. We'll just finish Metali first. So Metali's worried about the iron and the protein part of it.
So that's what I'm asking. Does how much nutrition content she's aware about banana?
Banana for me is a full meal.
So that's the thing.
Yep.
We are more worried about that she's not eating protein, from where the protein will come, where the iron will come. So are we aware there is nothing in banana? There's a lot of things in banana. Good iron, good protein, good carbohydrate. Of course, may not be that much iron as it is in chicken and
Yeah,
red meat, or maybe as it in egg, but it is good enough as in any other fruits and vegetable. Probably slightly less than apple, but it has got a good nutrition.
perfect. I feel happy for myself because that is what I normally eat when I don't want to have dinner or lunch, a banana. And bananas are big here. It's not like, what we get in India, tiny ones. They're really big, and that's a wholesome meal.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
sure it's a wholesome meal for
let
the
the
child.
child decide how much food child needs to eat, not you. You give the option to the child. This is the food in front of you. You need to eat. That's all. If child is fussy about, sometimes the fussy about the look of the food, the taste of the food, the fragrance, the coming, the aroma which is coming, that may be sometimes put some children up, a little bit in a different mode. Then it is a different thing. Then you can give a choice to the child and say, what would you like to eat? And it's also very important to understand when you give choices, don't give more than two or three choices. So it's not that, okay, you open the fridge and see what you like in the fridge. Child is never going to take anything out of the fridge or will take only the thing every time the same thing because get confused and overwhelmed by the choices you give. If you ask the child, do you want banana or apple? That's all.
Yep.
There is no three, four, fifth choices. Then is a
Just
high likelihood one time the child will take banana and next time will take apple. So give the choices, but the limited choices.
so apple or banana. So
Yeah.
yep. Yeah. Okay, I have a question from Archana. Thank you for watching, Archana. Archana runs this mothers group called Connecting Indian Moms, who was supposed to talk to you today, Raj, but her son is not well, has got the beginning of a bad cold. So, how many meals should there be for a 2.5-year-old child?
All right, Archana, sorry we missed you today, and maybe next time we'll definitely like to connect with you face to face. The same thing as we talked about for 2.5-year-old child, the standard meal is 3 meals as we talked about. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and in between two good snacks. But this is we are talking about, the majority of the time this is what happens. But it may not be applicable for every child or may not be applicable for your child because some kids are, they are grazer rather than having uh, big needs. So you need to think, see what is your child like. Some kids are there playing and come to and you are eating an apple and you give a piece of apple and child will eat and go away. Some kids will later on will come, take a two pieces of biscuits and go away. So if you see what is your child more alike, don't follow the same rule of 3 meals a day. It's good if your child can follow, but if you think that is creating an issue to your child, the rules are to make the life comfortable, not to make the life uncomfortable. So if you think your child is not falling in that category, try to do some innovative things and see what is applicable for your child, for your family. So if the child is going to suppose in a child care, 2.5-year-old, will follow the standard rule. You give breakfast, morning tea time, lunch time, afternoon tea, dinner time, and then a bit of a supper or before going to bed. So that's pretty standard. What we say, 80-90% children, those who are going to child care will follow that.
Um, no, this is not the one. Sorry, I've got so many questions. Here is the one. So, how do you encourage your child to eat by yourself? Mine is needs me to feed him.
This is a very, very typical question of Indian subcontinent. Mother. I can tell you, first thing, Archana, the day you change yourself, the day you say, I'm going to not going to feed my child, That is the day of change.
Yep, absolutely. I
Okay?
agree.
So change is not, you don't need to bring a change in a child. First thing, first thing is a change you need to bring in yourself. As a mother, you need to stop your worry, you need to throw your worries away. That, oh, if I don't feed my child, child is not going to eat anything, he's going to be hungry whole day. And my God, I can't tolerate that. I can understand that the mother heart, you will be, the heart will be pumping all the time. It's racing very fast. I can't give my child. And you're not a different mother. Every mom is like this. And that's how mother heart is. And I appreciate that mother's love. But sometimes you need to be a little bit hard to do good for your child. All right? So the certain few things, few tips I can give you. Of course, the first important thing is to bring a change in yourself first. Whatever change you want to bring, as Mahatma Gandhi told, be the change you want, the change you want to be. So first, to change yourself and make yourself strong and say, look, this is what I'm going to do now. Whatever hard way is going to be, because it's not going to be the easy way. So I'm going to bring that change in myself. I'm going to be strong. Few tips in that way. When the lunch and dinner time comes, make the dinner time as enjoyable. Involve your child in preparing the dinner. Which way, depending upon the age you can do, you can ask your child to put the plates on the table. You can ask your child, can you take the salad from the fridge? Can you wash it with me? So that little things gives a bit of a courage of involvement of a child into the food, and they start looking at the food, how the food, uncooked food look like, then how the cooked food will look like. So they're getting interest in the food. And the degree of confidence comes, yeah, I prepared this food. I helped in making this child. So if you ask the child, did you help your mommy in cooking the food? Yes, yes, I did it. And this is what I do in my family. Do you help your child in do you help your mommy cooking the food? Oh, no, my mommy never let me do because she's saying you're too little to do. So that's the other change we need to do. Then ask the child how your food you want to look like. You know, if you're making a sandwiches, you can make a sandwiches of different shapes. Get the shape from the market in a dollar
Cookie
shop.
cutters, yes.
You know, make it a star, make it a square, make it a flower, make it something what child likes. Make it a teddy bear, make it something, and child will love it. So, and let the child make these different shapes. This is way you involving the child in preparing the food is another important thing. Then, next tip I would say is the same tip also. It comes from the fussy eating habit. If we talk about like how to reduce the fussy eating habit, is the same tip would be for that. Then would be making the child sitting in the dining table with you. There's no separate meal for the child. You make the same food, but you're making for yourself. So child shows the same food the whole family is eating. Not my food is a special. Second food, the other food is the other family is eating. So they understand this is a family meal time and we are eating the same meal. Make the child sitting in a high table chair and at the level. Put the food in front of your child in a plate, what he wants to. Ask the child, you want this roti, this sabji, rice, whatever you want to eat. Put in how much I put. Let child decide 1 spoon, 2 spoon, 3 spoon, rather than you put it yourself. And you have to eat it, finish this. And the biggest problem in our culture is, oh, if I don't put a TV or phone in front of my child, he will never eat. So the child was not born with a phone, was not born with a TV. So you need to make sure that there is a no TV or distraction process any of the meal time. And that should be the rule that not only for the child, these rules are not for the child. If the phone is coming when I'm having a dinner, I'm not going to pick phone, whosoever it is. So this should be a rule to the family. There is a no distraction at the meal time. There
We
is a
have
no,
that in our family. No,
That's
nobody comes with the phone at the dinner table. Dinner table is just for, and that is what I've had with my girls forever. And none of us. Yep. When we go
and
out as a family, yep.
good. That's a good habit, and this is what I want in every family. That there is no digital distraction at that time. And parents give experience. If I don't give a phone, he's not going to eat. He was not born. He didn't know what phone is, what video is. We introduce for our comfort. So again, we need to change ourselves. So no phone distraction at that time. Then next come is let the child feed himself or herself. Maybe first they will eat two spoon, three spoon, four spoon. That's fine. Don't every 5 minutes you need to tell the child eat, 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 eat,
This
and
is
then
our way of showing love is always through food. I do it all the time.
that's where the this fussy eating habit, and particularly
Yeah.
in our culture, unfortunately, is very much traditionally created. All right. Why all Indian and Indian subcontinent children are running in the house and mother is after and feeding them. Oh, he's playing, he will have a one coat and then he'll go around in the house and come back and then give the second one. Come on. That's where the issues are because we never try to put a structured way of feeding. And then, and if the child is not eating and the mother's love slowly change into anger, screaming, and then crying later on because now you feel guilty because you cried on your child, you screamed on your child, and you started crying because you were overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, both ways. You want your child to eat, and because you're worried also, but you're getting unsuccessful, it makes you mixed feeling of anger, frustration, and crying. And the mealtime become a sort of a nightmare rather than enjoyable time. And then you start fighting with your husband. Husband say, "You can't feed the child. Let me do." And then he's screaming, they are screaming, and it became an absolute nightmare. So these are the few tips, changes which I suggested are important to make in our daily family life. I believe.
Well, Mithali agrees with you. She said this is the strategy that they follow at the childcare, and which is true. I think we've covered all the questions that I've covered has been asked in the live chat. But I wanted to ask you one question, Raj, because this is something we as Indians do a lot. So, how wholesome is milk? So you have a fussy eater, and the child doesn't want to eat, has two bites, and like you said, running around the house while the mother's running around or the father's running around trying to feed the child. How wholesome is a glass of milk?
Okay, I'm glad you asked this question because the sometime this became a trap for just a moment. Let me have a water. And sometimes it becomes a trap for parents. Oh, okay, if he's not eating, let's give him a glass of milk. It's fine. And then you start falling into the trap. I got a 2-year-old child who is coming with 1.5 liter of milk to 2 liter of milk every day and hardly eating anything. And forget about as a pediatrician. I'm talking about as a mother. Do you think 1.5, 2 liter of milk for a 2-year-old child is nutritious? No way. No way. Milk has its value. It's highly nutritious. There's no doubt. And that's why nature has given mother milk the highest nutritious calorie value. There's no replacement of mother milk. And baby does not need anything for next first 4 to 6 months except mother's milk. It's fully calorie wise, nutrition wise, vitamin wise, mineral wise, it has got everything. But it cannot sustain the growth as a balanced growth if we continue milk, breast milk as a solo lone food in a 1 year old child or beyond 6 months. So that's where we need to understand the milk should not be the replacement of normal solid milk, solid food after 6 months, 7 months of age. And certainly not after 9, 10 months. And if your child is not eating solid meal and if it's taking more than 600, 700, or more than a liter of milk at 1 year of age, then definitely your child is in trouble. You are in trouble. Someday you'll end up with pediatrician. Because this is going to cause two major problems. One is milk has got a very poor iron after that age, and it reduces further the absorption of iron in our gut, and child will be iron deficient and leading to anemia. And secondly, milk has got a lot of calcium, which is going to make you constipated. Forget about the calorie value, how the child would be having the calorie. May have a calorie equal to the solid meal. The child may be plump looking outside, but internally having a very unbalanced. So try not to give milk as an alternative of solid meal. And that's why we generally suggest don't fill your child's tummy with liquids, which is a juice, all fizzy drinks, cold drinks, milk, at least 1 to 2 hours before the main meal time. If your dinner time is 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock you're given the child, 250 ml one bottle of milk, and 1 year old child is not going to have it. What do you expect the child tummy would be? This is the tummy you already full with 250. What is going to eat? So these are the important things which we need to keep in mind when we are feeding our child on day-to-day basis.
Perfect. Thank you, Raj. Um, we are going to be back next month with Raj again in July. We've had to change the date because both Raj and I are going to see Arijit Singh. That is more important too.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
But
true.
thank you very much. This has been fantastic. We've had many, many ladies watching, and I'm hoping next time when we talk about babies, we will have more fathers watching.
That'll be good.
And ladies, if you've missed it, I'm going to put it on YouTube in about half an hour. It'll take time to upload. Please do watch. And any questions, send it to me. I will send it to Raj. Thank you so much, Raj.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you and see you next month. Oh, see you at Arijit Singh's concert. Bye.